Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Impact Knockdowns Knockout show. Pre taped women's show, not something that needs to be here, but if you're going to do something, at least it's different. Show opens with a ceremony to honor Daphne. Veda Scott and Mickie James introduce the show and run down the card. Veda Scott in the broadcast booth on a more regular basis on regular Impact would be awesome, and I hope that happens. Rachel Ellering defeats Lady Frost in a knockout tournament match. Ellering's been part of things for a little bit. Match starts with both women testing strength. Ellering gains control of the match. Frost tries to counter Ellering on some occasions. Ellering manages to maintain control. Frost does manage to use her athletic background to dodge Ellering and turn things around. She then goes for a quick series of attacks and near falls, but can't keep Ellering down. Ellering then ends up hitting the Desperation Lariat, cutting off Frost. Both ladies exchange some running strikes, followed by a leg drop from Ellering for near fall. Frost then hits a snowball fight, but Ellering reveals and goes into a pinning attempt. Finish sees Frost go for a moonsault, but get cut off by Ellering. Drop neck first onto the corner and finished off with a black hole slam. Ellering advances into the winner of Mercedes Martinez and Brandy Lauren. Video package of Chelsea Green and Renee Michelle, with the latter talking about being on another level, and that's what Green had. Then Green's ever wrestled. Chelsea Green defeats Renee Michelle in a knockdown tournament first round match. Match starts with a lockup that stays a while, and then they push each other around, neither willing to give up. Michelle gets face planted after a headlock. Green takes control of the match with a series of takedowns and arm drags, but gets hit with overconfidence, playing to the crowd a bit. Michelle sends her into the ring post, cuts her off. Michelle works over Green's broken arm, ramming it into the apron and going for submissions, forcing Green to come back with the big boot out of nowhere. Michelle cuts her off after both women recover. Green starts feeling the urgency and wants to get the match over with. Finish sees Green hit the Unprettier for the win. She advances and takes on the winner of Jamie Signal and Tasha Steelz. Video package for Mercedes Martinez and Brandy Lauren only features Mercedes talking about winning the tournament. Lauren is undead bridesmaid for Sue Young, so she doesn't have reason to talk. Mercedes Martinez does exactly what she says she's going to do, at least in part, winning her first round match. Lauren rushes at Martinez to start the match, but gets taken down very quickly. Lauren does manage to get a little bit of a counter of a cutoff, but Martinez hits the OG drop and gets the win. Short squash style match here. Martinez and Ellering will go into the semifinals. Tasha Steelz defeats Jamie Signal in her first round match. Match starts off with a little bit of chain wrestling and some counters, and Signal comes in getting an early upper hand. Match gets a little speedier. Steelz cuts her off. Signal gets a kick from the apron, but Steelz runs Signal into the post. Then Steelz dominates for some minutes, both outside and inside the ring. Can't get the 3 count. Signal starts to come back with some strikes and ends up a spin back and German suplex for a near fall. Then we see Steelz regains control, catching Signal on the ropes for a few knees and a bulldog for a 2 count. Second near fall with a cutter. Steelz starts to get frustrated, but she follows up with a blackout crucifix bomb for the win. Not the best of matches by any stretch. Steelz and Chelsea Green in the semifinals. Gia Miller interviews Gail Kim about the show so far. Talks about all the new talent coming in on the women's side, and she refuses to give a direct answer about who's going to win. Deanna Purrazzo with Matthew Reinwald defeats Marsha Slimbova in a non-title match. This is the Pick Your Poison match for Deanna Purrazzo as directed on the other night's Impact. Not a bad match. Building up Slimovic as a powerful challenger to Purrazzo. Purrazzo's pretty well been unstoppable during her title reign. She does get some momentum and outpowers Purrazzo, and then tests her strength and follows up with 3 suplexes, forcing Purrazzo to leave the ring. Purrazzo then turns things around when Slimovic decides to hit a dive on Reinwald, allowing Purrazzo to take her down with a kick. Back in the ring, Purrazzo starts to go after Slimovic's arm and does doing a great job countering with offense and takedowns and submissions. Small comeback by the, I guess you'd say, challenger if it were a title match. But Purrazzo stops her with a knee lift into the Fujiwara armbar. Slimovic hits a desperation driver for near fall and then goes for a GSP driver, but Purrazzo escapes and locks on the armbar once again. Finish then sees Purrazzo locking in the Venus de Milo on a snap sequence and verbally submits Slimovic for the win. Not a bad match there. Then we see Mercedes Martinez defeating Rachel Ellering in the semifinal. Decent match, and both women starts with lots of counter wrestling and arm drags, arm ringers, and basic mat wrestling. Martinez is done playing the game and starts to get into a more heel mode. Martinez gets intense and takes on a couple of cheap shots. Ellering stops smiling and gets serious as well at that moment. Martinez then takes control and then drops Ellering rib first onto the apron with a spear and attacks her outside the ring, going after her ribs first, and then back in the ring, Martinez hits a Kamagori knee strike, and then ribs Ellering. Ellering then comes back with a kick out of nowhere, but wasn't able to follow up and get what she wants out of it. Martinez, once again, cuts her off and hits a code breaker and a twisting neck breaker for a near fall. Martinez follows up with the STF, but Ellering does make the ropes. Nearby, Ellering gets some space and tricks Martinez into going for a big kick into the ropes and pulling a hamstring. Ellering hits a springboard leg drop for near fall and then hits a twisting suplex and a spine buster, but Martinez kicks out. Ellering then hits a black hole slam, but she's not quick enough to capitalize. Martinez comes back with a fisherman buster into a guillotine, and Ellering taps out. They embrace after the match. Mercedes goes to the finals with the winner of Steels against Chelsea Green, and there's a little bit of heat between the two. Steels relies on stalling a bit to get in Green's head, and Green takes out Steels with a tope. Green gets greedy, goes for the second rope, and then comes around with it. Hits forearms, tries to stop her. Then Steels gets some offense. Green recovers enough to go back and forth. Steels then trades pin attempt and strikes. Match spills onto the apron, and Steels hits a cutter for a count-out teaser. Green then kicks out of the crucifix bomb, and Steels kicks out of the unprettier, having both women kick out of the move, and then opponents using the advance. Green goes for an avalanche unprettier. Steels blocks it, hits a frog splash for the pinfall. Tasha Steels and Mercedes Martinez in the final. And still 3 more matches to go, which feels like overkill, to be honest. Anyway, so then Miller interviews Martinez about the finals. Martinez puts over Steels, but says her emotions are her worst enemy, whereas Martinez is an OG and ready for the pressure. Christy Hemme makes her return to Impact. She announced the new inductee into the Hall of Fame, Awesome Kong. They show a video package of Kong. Kong comes out, talks to the crowd, talks about the honor it felt to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, but she insisted on wanted to talk and honor Daphne. She talks about the doers and the doors that Daphne opened for women's wrestling. Video package of Daphne with members of the roster talking about her significance to wrestling. Wild talks about being the first ever Monsters Ball match with Daphne. Savannah Evans defeats Kimberly, Alicia Edwards, and Jordana Grace in a Monsters Ball match. I guess this is fine, but I don't think a hardcore match needs to be here. Alicia and Lee go at it early on, but then they pair up quickly. Charging, Lee and Savannah take to the ring. Grace and Alicia fight on the outside of the ring early on. Lee breaks a pool stick over Evans' back, but then attacks her with a garbage can and a crowbar, finishing the trifecta and bringing in a barbed wire wrapped chair. And Lee gets busted open with the process of this. Edwards brings out her husband's kendo stick and goes after Lee. Alicia's kendo stick is also wrapped in barbed wire, and she rakes it over Lee's head before a pin attempt is broken up. Grace and Evans exchange strikes in the ring. Grace completely dominates Evans and Alicia, ending with the Vader Bomb for 2 count. Grace then comes back with a weight plate, but then is cut off by Lee before she could use it. Instead, Lee brings out a stack of thumbtacks, but ends up taking a muscle buster from Grace right on top of them. Alicia runs into a pancake. Grace also took a couple of tacks to the back. Ouch. And Grace recovers and plants Alicia on the weight plate, but Evans jumped in. And then full Nelson Slam on Alicia, picking up the win. Anyway, so Miller interviews Steele about the finals, and she says this is about her becoming a title contender. Then we go to the finals. Mercedes Martinez does defeat Tasha Steelz for that tournament. Trash talking, Martinez takes control using a power advantage, tosses Steele around. Steelz comes back, turns things around. Martinez drops her with a tornado DDT for the first near fall of the match. Martinez goes for her finish early on. Both women continue trading momentum, wrestling on top of the corner. Steelz drops Martinez with a headbutt and a Stratisfaction for a big near fall. They go to top turnbuckle, trading strikes. This time around, Martinez hits the OG and picks up the win. Martinez earns herself a title shot at the Knockouts champion. Martinez and Purrazzo could be phenomenal. Main event of the night, Knockout Tag Team Champions Decay, Havoc, and Rosemary with Black Taurus and Crazy Steve defeat Influence to Neil Dashwood, Madison Rayne to retain the titles. I don't know. Match starts with Decay in control. Rosemary bites Rayne and chases her around the ring. Havoc comes in to slam Dashwood in the corner, and Rosemary tags in, but Caleb starts to get involved. Distraction allows Rayne to take down Rosemary with a clothesline on the floor, and then later tries to chase Caleb around. Back in the ring, Rayne and Dashwood keep Rosemary in the corner, working her over and cut her off from her corner. Rosemary's head gets taken with a bunch of strikes, and there's a bunch of quick tags, and Rosemary eventually lands a Desperation Lariat on Dashwood and then tags out. Havoc gets the hot tag, goes nuts on Rayne. hits Running Boots in the corner. Rosemary goes to attack Rain, but Caleb jumps in with his traction, allowing them to hit the collab on Rosemary. Referee is distracted. Rosemary has time to kick out. Decay comes back with a Russian leg sweep and a spear combination for the win. The show ends with a vignette for Inspiration, Cassie Lee, and Jessie McKay, otherwise known formally as the Iconics, taking on and coming into Impact. We'll be back with more right after this.